Maybe in the last minute of your life, you want to be something more than a goddamn savage!
Annunziare mentatio. Ego sum homo indomitus.
Fearless rats, insanity. He watches the game fantasy. Real one, forbidden sight. He searches under up the shadows and
You like this? Oh, you like being food for the immortal?
Pacific Standard Time. Joining me is our esteemed co-host, author Stephen Walton. Hello, Donis Ravenwolf Dragonstorm. How the fuck are you doing, my friend? All right. I guess he's going to take a piss or something. So while we're waiting for him to come back, I'd like to remind you that the Savage Show is not for children. If you have any sensitive earbuds, please put those little ones away. We'd also like to remind you that this channel will contain strong language, sensitive subject matter, images, and content intended for a mature 18 years or older audience. Viewer discretion is advised.
Testing.
There he is.
Testing.
Testicles. 1, 2, 3. The video contains copywritten content, however, under the Fair Use Act, Section 504C2, Title 17 of the U.S. Code. This content is presented for the purposes of education and entertainment through the use of parody, satire, critique, analysis, and/or social commentary by means of subjective opinion.
Okay, testing. I blew up
There
on
he
my
is.
intro. When you were like the author Stephen Walton, I came out like, I am author Stephen Walton, the fandom menace historian, whether you like it or not. Your historian, born in the chats with my brothers and sisters, fighting for our modern mythologies. I'm the guy that toxic people can't stand. I'm the guy that fake internet tough guys want to be. I'm the one that motherfuckers talk about in the cut, when their lunch tables, crying together, all the manginas getting together with the hateful biddies because they're not Walton. And I'm sorry you can't be me. You have to excel to be me. You have to try. You have to go through the fire of hell, walk through it, then turn back and piss on that bridge before walking forward into a successful future in order to be me. So please, y'all lunch tables out there, collect together with your hateful biddies, collect together with your losers, because you're not going to grow. You're not going nowhere. And I'm not even going to take the time to notice that my urine is spitting down upon thee as I am climbing up the ladder of success. That's right. Walton has returned. What is up, Coil? God, I love that intro.
Yeah, dude. It's one of those things like we all and like you said, born and forged in the fires of the chats and the blah blah blah.
Right.
Formerly fandom menace adjacent. I think we all started from somewhere, but all of those movies, all of those titles, and especially that song, harkens back to the origin story, dude. There's a part of me that will always be fandom menace, but I cannot in good content just bitch about Star Wars my whole life. There are larger forces at work in the universe that I feel needs addressed, and especially as my child becomes more and more sentient, I want her to be able to look back upon these broadcasts and ponder her own origins. So
See, that's why I love coming over here and talking to you, Coil, because we understand each other, my Tauran brother. You know, horns down, eyes red, coming at life. Yeah, and from a spiritual perspective. From a spiritual perspective, and that's why we're friends. See, we have that link, we have that connection. And you know, going back to like, I'm Fandom Menace to the day I die. All right, I stood up to the guy who took the name from somebody in the chat and coined it, and pissed all over him too. And I'll do that anytime. EVS can suck my balls. I will talk shit and be who I am, the shit, as much as I want, to anybody that I want. I will listen. My battleground is entertainments, but it's not just entertainments, because I have another successful channel called Lodana's Dragon Store, where I talk about narcissistic abuse recovery and awareness. I have another channel I'm about to build, believe it or not. It's called Lodana's Raven Wolf. We're going to be doing tarot and other spiritual topics over there, which is why I'm working with my boy Coil here. Yep. You know, I'm looking at, and I am going to be working on author Stephen Walton as I am working on this book. Thank the gods they blessed you, Coil. They brought the manuscript back into my life. I'd sent it in an email to somebody before I lost my comp. And so I have it. And now I'm going to continue writing on that. And it's going to be told from a truthful historical perspective from the people who were involved in this, whether I like them or not. They're going to get a mention. Yeah. I'm just going to, you know, and that's why I have this set of interviews that I've already done, that I'm going to be doing, because it's about the history. The Fandom Menace meant something to all of us. As far as format goes, is it going to be objective, or are you going to be narrating your journey personally? It's going to kind of be like the first one was, in the way that the first book had chapters that were very opinionated from me, me speaking. Where can our listeners get your first book, sir? You can get the audio book, which is narrated by Robot Shlomo, formerly of Midnight's Edge After Dark, and beautiful. Rob did such a great job on that book. You can also get a physical copy there. And I'm going to be re-releasing the special copy. There is a special edition of Volume 1 that only people who backed the original project got. I'm going to be putting that out as I release Volume 2. So you guys get that extra chapter that is not in those versions. That sounds awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm not altering it. Although I said a lot of very nice things about the gay frog. I said a lot of nice things about him in that book, and I'm not going to change it. I'm still going to leave it, even though I don't believe half of it. But in Volume 2, it's going to be very matter of fact, some chapters, and then but a lot of about half of the book, I'm going to say, are interviews with various creators, such as Abu Nas, let's see, Lord Callus, Sporky News Podcast, Nerdrotic, Lord Doomcock. I'm going to be, I haven't set up a date or set up any conversation yet, but I want to have Jeff Hicks, who's a world-class, really, the beginning of Volume 2, the history of the Fandom Menace. Nothing but respect for that guy. He's actually held it down more honestly than most of the OGs. Completely agreed. And that's what the world class is, where the gangster shit started. And so a lot of a focus should go to them. But in much respect to Geeks and Gamers and Ethan Vance, Cover Comic Artist Pro Secrets, who were kind of the genesis, along with people like Cecil. There was I'm going to make sure to present to you guys something that represents what happened during that time. And that I just think that's the most responsible thing to do. But yeah, so it's going to be half interviews and part, breaking down a story of what happened during certain events, for certain like solo, certain important events. Sure. And then some opinionated parts, of course. And it's got to be done right. And in my opinion, doing it right means giving everyone who was involved in that time period, the due respect of the influence or the push. Like I can hate EVS all day long, right? He's a closet fag. I can hate him all day long. But the truth of it is, The truth of it is that narcissist, through his ego, did get a lot of people off their ass and start creating indie comics. Did get a lot of promotion going. He's the reason that I started writing Volume 1. He got me. He got by the he inspired me. Put the pen back in my hand. So, regardless of who I believe he is personally, there was a lot of inspiration that came from that time period. Now, where it's gone since then is a whole other story. If I went into Volume 3, then it'd basically be like a tabloid drawing. This happened and this happened. This happened. I don't want to do that. People like Anna, that Star Wars girl, like she was a big part of the beginning. Jesse Milestone, John Talks.
Yeah.
Good, just, people that have gone in different directions and done different things.
Yeah.
And the Fandom Collective. I have an interview with the Fandom Collective, Flipped Out and Rookie Critic, and I'm going to be talking to Itzhak Okuyan because he's a part of that, and I want to get Black Angus involved in that. And
very tremendous personalities. Yes, sir.
Really, yeah, so people that really push, and comics division, Odin's Movie Blog. There's people that had a lot to do with that initial push. And and as far as you said, is like, people moving away from doing that. There's a few reasons why some people have stopped doing entertainment commentary, and for my part, at least in the spheres, the people that I used to operate in before they started stabbing me in the back and moving off and whatever, like their reasoning is crabs in a bucket. All right, this person is a crab in the bucket. They want to control everyone around them, Tommy, and so they're going to drag everybody else down. They're going to, don't talk about that. Only look at those successful. I hate them. They're successful. Don't do that kind of content. So, and then you have people who genuinely like Flaccid Phoenix, who genuinely don't want to just come down on every damn thing, So like Flaccid. He gets on the Fandom Menacer, old Fandom Menacer sometimes, but he's coming more from a perspective of some of the stuff is good. There are people out there that want to talk about things because we want to point out what's good, like what I did with Star Trek Picard. This is what we want. This is what I want. So I'm going to talk good about this. Sorry, DC. Sorry, Doomcock. Sorry, everybody over there. But I want to talk good about this.
And I have a similar take with the Ahsoka show. There's a lot of people who don't like that show. There's a lot of people who don't get Dave Filoni and his way of building seasons and sculpting towards this movie that he's going to be making at some point. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if I sit around and just like release a video after everything that happens in Kathleen Kennedy's camp, then I am not doing myself a service. I'm not doing I'm not doing things that feel good for my soul, and ultimately,
and that's important.
Ultimately, all of this things, all these posts, all these people we associate with, all the lovers and haters and, brothers and fighters, this is speaking to our legacy. I just kind of, and I fucking hate that it's not Twitter anymore. It's X now. But
it's always gonna be Twitter. I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
Elon Musk has $1 bazillion, so he's doing whatever he wants. But it's one of those things. Like I looked through my old posts. Like if you just like hit your history and you go down it, you can see like every fucking thing that you've ever done. And I started looking at that like, is this how I want to speak about myself? Is this how I want to speak about others? Does this actually reflect what's in my heart and soul? Ooh. Or was I just being reactive to something? And
very well
same
said.
Same thing with like fucking Instagram and Facebook. Like I don't even like Facebook. I don't use it really. I use it sometimes, and I notice like when I post on Instagram, like sometimes it tries to post on Facebook, so I have to go and kill it after I fucking post.
Actually, I look forward to that because it helps me because I don't even go on Facebook really. So
yeah, and it's just one of those things, man. Like again, like is this the footprint that I want to leave? Is this like in 100 years when they go back and look at Immortal Coil, and I'll still be around because I can't die unless I kill myself?
Well, Well, don't say that. Don't say that. All right, God, please, not in this group, not in this room.
Nah, nah.
Well, but the progression, Coil. But look, people could go back and see the progression and the flow of energy that was happening at that time. Like
Yeah.
we always change. Like you're not the person that you were a year ago or a year before that. So things have changed. Where have you come since then? I was looking
Right.
at posts. It's one of the things I do like about Facebook is that it will remind you of something that happened a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, right? And so the other day I got a reminder, hey, this happened 2 or 3 years ago, and it was like
Was it
an
a
old
good
Rogue
time?
Entertainment. It was
Yeah.
an old Rogan Entertainment show. Now, at the time, great time. The last 2 years, not a great time. Don't like looking at that because it felt like a failure.
Yeah.
And people that were in it were not my fucking friends. They were the exact types of far left Antifa tactic using motherfuckers or dirty comics gay people that we supposed to be standing up against. Smearing people's names, all that. And it would have hurt me. But now it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. If I hadn't run into my past experience and my life had been destroyed and I hadn't become who I became, then I would have actually elevated these fucking leeches into a better position where they would have stabbed me harder. So it's kind of a good, it's like the progression of life. So when you go back and you look at like how things unfolded with the Phantom Menace and whatnot, like I wouldn't erase that. I wouldn't erase like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And even if they were dumb statements, even if they were something that I could wholeheartedly disagree with now, because that is a part of the lineage of experience and the growth and the flow of time and how things broke down.
Yeah.
And you're talking about like, do I want to live in this? And a good point you brought up about living in like a negative energy, like constantly bitching about something. There's like
Want to say hail to the chat real fast. Hell,
Oh, yeah, my
RR.
bad.
Thanks for showing up, buddy. We appreciate you. I realize I've been rather inconsistent the past couple weeks, but everybody that shows up, fucking hell yeah, let's raise one. Here's to
RR
us
is
what's
Lou.
like us. Yeah, he is.
R-
He's a good guy. He has a good perspective too. He's not just like a passive listener. He typically pipes in with very thoughtful quips. So thanks for showing up, buddy.
Absolutely. And RR, please give Bear my love the next time he streams. I just have been out of the loop with my buddy Bear, but I miss him. Hail the fourth wave. And I hope he's doing all right.
Yeah. So speaking of self-improvement, it's very important that, especially as men, we take time to exercise, improve our bodies, improve our minds. This is one of those things that I don't often share around, but I have been involved in martial arts since I was a teenager. And
Mhm.
Steven, you have recently taken up the practice of Wing Chun. Tell me about your seafood. Tell me how you found him. Tell me like your experience so far.
So I always wanted to get back into martial arts. It was one of the things I was going to start doing when I moved to Florida, but my past experiences kind of put me in a negative direction, so I never ended up doing that. I used to do Taekwondo many years ago in Delaware. Went to a couple tournaments, had fun. Not the best fighter in the ring, but I have fun doing it. When I met, so I just. Okay, I'm going to lightly go in. I'm going to lightly go into the medium, all right, but not too much.
Dude, I love Kung Fu, so you're not going to bore me. And if anybody gets bored listening to this, turn off the channel right now.
I am so sorry I burped right into the mic. So I went through. I had a tarot card reader about a week and a half ago. Somebody who's I had met through TikTok, does narc abuse awareness stuff, just like I do. And she read my cards and said some things that resonated with me about progression, not mentioning something's name, not summoning it up, not giving it power, and moving forward. And then I talked to a psychic medium a couple days later, an appointment that I made with a woman who I talked to a year ago. A lot of very cool events. I'm not going to get into it now because that's not the question you asked, but very cool events happened around that period. She was dead on and right. So I talked to her again, and it was a very positive time, very healing experience.
So suffice to say, she had some talent.
Oh man, this medium is on point. Jory Lynn out of Daytona, Florida. Circles within circles, man. The girl who read my cards name was Ashley. So Dude, right? Circles within fucking circles, right? So the universe making you confront what would be triggering to see if you have moved past it, and I passed the
if you've
test.
indeed mastered the
So,
energy. Yes, sir.
and I have. So she helped me with that, a lot of healing energy, and as soon as that happened, I have been back. I've said I'm back a lot of times, but I'm really back. So the first thing I did was I'm going to start doing the things that I wanted to do. I want to do Wing Chun. I've enjoyed. I've studied Taekwondo, Aikido, and some MMA. Not a lot, but there's something about Wing Chun that I've always been interested in as far as the moves.
Was it beyond the movies, like beyond Ip Man and Bruce Lee, or was it something more visceral?
Well, no, Ip Man is really what kind of turned me on to it. First time I saw Ip Man, I was in jail.
Donnie Yen is a tremendous fucking fighter, and I get it, dude. I've been in jail too. There's nothing to fucking do there, and you're miserable.
And a movie comes on, and you're watching it, dude. You are in that. You are in it. You know. So first, and I noticed the moves that he used, and they were all angular or straight lines. It was all like straight to the point. There's no wasted energy in Wing Chun. It's directly to the point. And so I looked it up, and I went and I found this school not too far away, Sifu Silvis. And Sifu Silvis is a very cool dude. I think he has some kind of
what city or some kind is he in?
He's in Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
He has been
what's the name of the studio?
Martial. I can't remember off the top of my head. I've only been there 3 times. Yeah. But
that's okay. Somebody look it up and post it in the chat.
So he's been a boxer. He's been practicing martial arts for a very long time, different styles, mostly Wing Chun. He's a deacon at his church. He's very spiritual. You know, again, I'm surrounded by Christians.
Well,
they don't know.
Does he know about your background? Is he supportive of polytheism and all that kind of stuff?
I have learned, Coil, okay, that it was a lot easier to come into the fandom menace, our indie sphere, and just stay in the broom closet than come out. Because the moment that I came out and said I'm a witch, people like Ambassador, Stig, and a couple others, they hated me. You know, like, oh, he doesn't pray the right way. He's awful. He's icky. He doesn't pray the right way. And so, like, I've dealt with that before in my life, but it's increased over time. More and more people. It's like one of the reasons an excuse people have to hate me. So I don't tell Christians what I am, because they're very judgmental and they can't handle it sometimes. But these guys, I think I can, because they're all spiritual. They're spiritual cats. This Wing Chun is as much mental and physical and spiritual as each other. And it's
one of the youngest martial arts of the traditional era, but it's also very, very scientific. So, like you're saying, everything's like a 45-degree angle, or it's they have that body box concept from like your hips to your forehead, and that's where your zone of contacts are.
Right, like some of the katas. I don't know if they're called katas in Chinese, but some of the katas that I watched in martial arts movies that were using Wing Chun, I understand. Like, I'm starting to understand them. Okay, that's why they use this kata, because this shapes your box. This is where your box is. This is your fighting lane. I'm learning concepts like meet strength with softness.
Yes.
I'm learning. It's all move counter move. It's and once you get the offense, like, I love this, because I had the conception that this was more like defense, offense, defense, offense, defense, offense. And Sifu Silvis was like, no. He's like, listen, man, once you get in the offense, you stay on offense.
Yes.
You stay on offense until they're down. And it reminds me of like that scene in Ip Man. I think the first Ip Man, when he takes on like the 10 karate
for
guys.
The bag of rice.
For the bag of rice, and he fights that one dude and just keeps punching him until dude like bends backwards.
Like his face caves in. Yeah. Right. Yeah, his rice bag is bloody at the end of it because his friend died, and he's like 10. You know, and that's when the Japanese general started shitting his pants, dude. I love that movie. So I'll go into my experience a little bit. I've been studying Chen style Tai Chi Chuan
What is
since.
that?
So Tai Chi, everybody knows that from the hippies at the park, actually is a martial arts form, believe it or not. It's not just boiling spaghetti noodles.
Oh,
It's
okay.
one of the oldest forms of Kung Fu. It's been around for 5,000 years at least. Has roots going back to the Northern Shaolin Temple, but also from the Warring States period. Um, and it's also one of those things, like I can dork out on kung fu as hardcore, if not more hardcore, than I can on Star Wars. It's like that same kind of thing. And honestly,
Okay.
doing martial arts deepens your appreciation for concepts like the Jedi, you know, or the Sith. Uh,
Right.
but
Well, okay, I'm sorry.
that's okay. As far as softness answering hardness, as far as leaving earlier and arriving before, as far as defense being offense, as far as a philosophy, a statement, um, Tai Chi offers all of those things. And when I meet another martial artist, um, normally, number one, I don't really talk about this shit because my Sifu always told me if you are to be a capable warrior, your first strategy should be to appear dumb or ineffective. And then if it comes down to touching hands, then punish, you know, but be
Right,
peaceful, you know.
limiting the time a person has to react. That's another thing I like about the Wing Chun philosophy.
Yeah, and
Right.
even identifying what's a worthy fight. There are times where I could have, but I didn't because I knew that it would accomplish nothing. So
Yeah, right.
uh,
No, right.
that's
When right.
yeah, that's all part of the equation. You know, if you possess a lightsaber, let's call it that. If you have a lightsaber, you don't just pull it out every time you feel threatened. You only use it when it comes to matters of life and death or truth and principle or defending the weak, that kind of thing. And that's a martial tenet the Chinese call Wu Dei. That's martial virtue. You have to be very um, careful with the skills that you possess, and you know all of these things kind of feed back into each other. So go ahead,
I
Steve.
completely I know, I completely agree. Like the some of the differences in, okay, like Taekwondo. Taekwondo to me is it's an aggressive style. Um and so even though I was taught, know when to fight, know when not to fight, of course, those types of tenets, the energy in the sport, and it really is more a sport at this point than a martial art because there's a lot of telegraphing, a lot of pretty moves. If you can if you can pull them off, right? So
Yeah.
one of the in Taekwondo, it's a lot of kicks. It is about kicking and sweeping and shit, which I'm down with, but I'm a short guy, so like my kicks are very close, and
Yep.
and a lot of power if I can, get in close. But what I like about what I've learned so far, mind you, third class, I'm only 3 classes in. What I like is that what I was taught was a kick. From a Sifu told me that a kick is used to fill in a space or to stun. It's not for hurt. If you cause somebody pain with a kick, great, but you're really kicking to distract because you're going back upstairs. You're going back to the body,
Mhm.
and that's totally different than the Taekwondo philosophy. And it's also, I feel a lot more comfortable doing that too, because being a man of short stature, I'm
Mhm.
always inside the box. I am in
Yeah.
the box. I'm Mike Tyson fighting Holyfield. I am in the box. If I'm not in the box, I'm going to get fucked up. What I like about Wing Chun as opposed to Taekwondo, you're trying to get in that box and kick, 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 and use a combination. Wing Chun seems to be, for me, I'm going to start in the box and I'm going to control the box, and I'm going to eliminate my opponent's ability to strike or
Mhm.
counter, because
Mhm.
before they even strike, I control their power hand, their forward hand, and I'm striking,
Mhm.
control, strike, and I'm doing it in a fluidic motion that cramps the opponent, and I'm not going to stop until the person's done. Um, and so that to me is a lot more effective for the way that I approach a fight.
Mhm.
You know, because if I'm just street fighting, dude, I'm coming in to box and I'm coming in low. I'm usually fighting up, you know, so my stance is usually high. And but you know, and if that, you know, and if that becomes ineffective, go for the legs, take them down to the ground and pound. That's where the MMA
Yeah.
comes in. That's where the jiu-jitsu comes in. You down
Yeah.
to the ground. So I'm so far really enjoying it. And I feel that because I'm listening to the universe. I'm listening to the universe again. I now feel that I'm like 99% healed, you know, from my past experiences. So
Excellent.
I'm listening. Thank you, brother. I am now listening to my intuition entirely. Being around these people, that's why I said I think I can eventually say, "Hey, I'm this," you know, if it comes up. But when I'm standing around in a circle with the class belt or class sash and Sifu and the other you know first high students, which are
Yeah.
all cool, and they're talking about God, they're talking about prayer, they're talking about like all I hear, what I'm hearing is manifestation, connection to source. you know,
Hmm.
you know, that's all. That's what I'm hearing. I'm translating that, and I think that's like without. I think spirituality, if taken in a positive direction, whether it's religious or not, is a positive thing. But I do believe it is
Absolutely.
easier for people who have a more spiritualist perspective to translate. You know, if I'm so I hear from a Christian, they're talking about prayer. You know, they're talking about connection with God, putting faith in God. You know, keeping your energy. All I hear is I'm keeping my energy high, putting it out, putting my intent out into the universe, and making manifest goodness, making manifest prosperity. If I were to come to most, I believe, I may be wrong, but if I were to come to most Christians and say that, like they would not be able to translate that into their belief because it would hit this wall of that doesn't sound like it's God. That doesn't sound okay. Hold on, wait a minute, hold on. Are you trying to tell me there isn't a guy sitting in the cloud counting how many times I masturbate? You know, like
Yeah,
you'll just hit
right.
that wall.
Sky Daddy.
Sky Daddy, yeah. But honest to God, the philosophy of Sifu Silvas and the people that I've talked to so far in the class is so alike because they also bring God, source, into how you are thinking, your energy, your movement. All of these things are connected. Yes, all of these things absolutely are connected. And so I think that the art itself will help to bridge any misunderstanding. I hope, you know. But I'm not going to jump out
Well,
of the broom
so
closet and scare them too quick.
that's okay. So I want to weave a yarn here. The
Okay.
original Shaolin monks are Buddhists. Okay, there's a story that a man named Bodhidharma came from India and came to a young Shaolin temple. This is way before Kung Fu ever happened. And he noticed that the monks were like fat and lazy and sleepy and kind of, I don't want to say dumb, but just dopey, right? So he's like, I'm going to whip you fuckers into shape because you're supposed to be representing my faith out in the wilderness. You know, Shaolin actually means young pine forest. And, you know, this was centuries ago. So he instituted the tendon changing classic, among other uh, yoga type skills, which over time turned into martial application. So the idea of a warrior monk, that Jedi idea, has very real reflections in the real world. Um, you know, like I said, they were all Buddhists originally. You know,
So,
Zen Buddhism actually is called Chan Buddhism in Chinese. That's where that came from.
oh, really? So
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
you're saying is that guy came in like an overly gay Prussian to a young rebellion army in the United States and whipped them into shape, and
Yeah.
was possibly lost in history because he was a really gay Prussian.
Well, so he's called Tomo in Chinese, and there's wild legends, like just like you watch movies about how like Chinese people fly across lakes and like they dance on the water and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
He is
yeah, like a
said to
band.
have, yeah, he is said to have stared a hole through fucking rock just based on his concentration. So he's
Damn.
one of these, yeah, he's one of these people who are like high mytho-historical kind of,
Zen master,
beings.
close Christ
But
consciousness level.
but yeah, just like the Buddha himself, he is supposed to have roots in real, actual, like, enfleshed, incarnate being. It's just
Right.
tales of his endeavors have been exaggerated over time. One of those things. But it's not inconceivable to think that at some point the Shaolin Temple was ran by a bunch of hacks, and somebody from India who was closer to the original source of the thing had to come and whip the fucking characters into shape and get them to be the formidable warriors of repute. It was said that one Shaolin monk was worth 10 uh, military fighters.
And
know?
that sounds legit to me. We talk about early Japan, uh, pre-feudal Japan, and
Right.
the different daimyos. They didn't just
Yeah.
have to fight the other daimyos; they had to get through the Buddhist lands too, like the Buddhist temples, because the Buddhist temples themselves, they were warriors. They had they were their own military, and their people, the farmers and the people that supported them, were also trained to a point, but and so you had these daimyos who were fighting to unify Japan, who actually had to burn down Shaolin Temple, like, because these priests kicked your ass. I think
Yeah.
they were so
Well,
that
and
sounds
especially if we're talking about Japan, defeat was not an option. If you lost, you were expected to kill yourself out of respect to your opponent.
yeah, that's a hell of a philosophy, isn't it?
Yeah. And it goes to show the Shaolin Temple remained unopposed for excuse me, for centuries. And actually it was the Chinese government who did end the original Shaolin Temple because
And
they judged it wisely. They judged it as a threat. If these guys could do this to our enemies,
well,
imagine
yeah,
what they can do to ourselves, especially if we decide to be an asshole. And it's that whole Palpatine kind of thing. It understanding of martial arts really adds a whole layer to Star Wars that just does not exist if you don't practice.
oh yeah, yeah, and absolutely. Some of the, a lot of the inspiration for Star Wars, Star Trek came from
Yes.
actual historical
Oh, the
people.
Klingons, dude, come on.
Japanese, the Klingons are the Japanese, yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, well, they didn't. The Chinese were smarter. The Chinese were smarter than the Europeans coming out of the Dark Ages, at least, because
Oh yeah.
I think
Arabs were too.
a similarity between what the Shaolin were to China and what the Catholic Church was to Dark Age Europe
Yeah.
is very similar, in as far as the ability to raise army, and but the difference in that is, I think the Catholics rose armies on faith, whereas the Shaolin taught through their Buddhist philosophy, I think they were better. They created fighters. They created.
Well, they embodied their principles. Okay, Christians, and I'm not going to completely shit on Christianity because it does certain things for certain people. Most Christians I know
Yes.
are authentically kind, even if they're lacking in basic
Ca-
knowledge of their fucking
Catholic
beliefs.
Catholic Charities is one of the best institutions, one of the most helpful giving
Yeah, dude.
institutions. Absolutely, gotta give them credit.
Mormons would like cut their fucking heart out for you, especially if you're part of their church. They will bend over backwards and show you
Well,
all
if you
their
got a lot
holes.
of if you got a lot of daughters, how
Yeah.
they treat the young men. They kick them out like
Oh
elephants.
yeah. I do dig some daughters though.
I mean, I might try it out. So I don't think I've ever had Mormon, but Walton's back on the menu.
But the larger thought here, once we get out of our dicks, let's get the blood back to
Okay,
the
got it.
fucking
Okay, got it.
pineal.
You got it.
is that the Shaolin and Chan Buddhism particularly embodied their faith through their movement and exercise. That concept of chi, the Japanese call it ki, but chi came from Buddhism. They call that prana in Buddhism, but it came through
Okay.
as the idea of chi in China. And it's one of those things that it is a word. It is just like the Matrix says, like that's an idea, that's a concept, that's a thought. But put into practice, put into faith, it turns into things like being able to see auras and heal with your hands and touch things and have some what's the fucking word for it? When you touch something and you know who has touched it before and you can see people through the thing that
Oh,
you touch.
I can't think of the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I can't think of it either. I'll probably think of it as soon as this
It is. It
broadcast
is
is
not a.
over.
Yes, it is not a psychic ability that I have, so I don't know.
Yeah, but those are all essences of the Force, if you want to equate it to Star Wars. It's things that have been uh expressed in the universe that is able to be perceived and picked up upon by sensitive people. And that's why it's silly when we see movies where like uh Chinese people are like dancing across lakes and like wielding meteorite laden swords and all that kind of shit. It's cheesy, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility if you understand what the fuck chi is and how psychic gifts work. It's theoretical. It's not impossible, but it's
No, absolutely.
yeah, it takes a stretch of the imagination and it takes a exercise of extreme determination to achieve.
It does, and it's also a lost art. I think that after the destruction, after the great
Buried and
floods.
hidden
Oh yeah, well I think.
intentionally.
Oh,
Absolutely.
intentionally hidden. I mean, it's yeah, in today's world, absolutely. These are knowledges that are not entirely lost. They're kept by a very few, or they've tried to keep them amongst a small few.
Yeah.
But I think that it was well known. I would imagine. I don't know before the great floods, before the destruction of
Yeah.
pre-civ.
Yeah.
Well, what we call pre-civ, and we're trying to find those things again. Oh, on another note, there's an exercise I'd like to share with the audience. You might know might know about this, but it's an exercise to break up the crystallization of the pineal gland.
Ooh. Please do
Um,
tell.
so if you don't know, I think Coil shared this with us a few weeks ago. Looking at the dawn sun or the setting sun, when it's not glaring.
Soul gazing. Yeah.
Soul gazing, right, can help to soften the pineal gland. Another thing is if you sit meditation style, cross-legged, and do a breathing practice, and then suck in your stomach, hold in your breath, suck in your stomach at the same time. It will push fluids and energy up through your spine. It will actually get into the brain and will soften the crystallization that's happened around the pineal. So if you practice that, hold it for as long as you can, exhale, then breathe a few times comfortably, then take in a deep breath, pull in your stomach, as much of your plexus as you can, hold it for as long as you can, and then release. And do that a few times. Do it like 10 minutes a day, and it will begin to allow you to use the pineal gland, or it will soften the pineal gland and activate it a little bit more each day. So I just wanted to pass that along because it's something that I just learned, and I've been doing it.
Yeah.
And I'll let you guys know if I see any major effects that take place.
Excellent. So I do want to let you know there's some like odd auditory like acoustic things happening on your side. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
because I'm
sure what's going on
outside.
there.
There's cars
Okay.
going by. I'm sorry. I'll mute when I can.
No, that's cool. So this is another thing that I want to relate to martial arts practice is so again, I've been doing martial arts since I was a teenager, and one of the things that they um, emphasize is structure. And what I mean by structure is in kung fu, the type of kung fu that I've trained, there are several very basic stances that you're supposed to train that enable you to access that power. Okay. Chief amongst them is called horse stance. And as you stand post, and they call it standing post because like back in the Shaolin days, you would actually stand on top of plum blossom poles, you know, like 6 to 8 feet off the ground, and they were placed just so that you would take the proper width and you know root and gravity and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, there was a concept called the triple burner, and the Chinese word for it was dantian, and it roughly relegates to your root chakra, your solar plexus chakra, and your third eye chakra. Those are collectively known as dantian, the triple burner. Um, but you end up through standing and breathing correctly, and you can even physically make the connection using the underside of your tongue and the root of your soft palate, create a energetic link and breathe in chi and sustain yourself. And my first sifu, her name was Chen Yi, she told me that to become great at anything, you have to do it for at least 100 days consistently. So we would train each stance for at least 100 days on your own.
Right,
It wasn't in school. You can't like just show up and just stand there and do nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, she taught the form and all that kind of stuff, but it becomes evident who's doing their homework and who is not. You know, and even at the age of 16, I was outclassing people who were you know, in their 40s. And she said so. Like I didn't even think about fighting. I wanted to come in and improve myself. And she's like, "No, you know, you're a careful steward of the art, so I'm going to teach you, you know, how to bend people the wrong way." So,
Yeah, I'm so trying not to take that in the gutter.
yeah, well, you know, it's one of those things. I have had the occasion to defend myself, but I don't enter into a physical contest lightly. I am more likely to walk away or surrender or do whatever to avoid conflict. But I have injured people. Have you
I
ever had to
believe
fight
that's
to defend yourself, sir?
my whole life.
There you go.
Especially a lot when I was younger. You know, going up I'm an '80s kid, '90s teen. Lot
Generation
of
X.
yeah, Gen X. You know, I was in a town that was predominantly white. Next town over, which was right across the tracks, going through white flight. You know, went to a school that was heavily mixed during the Rodney King and O.J. Simpson, and
Yeah.
so I kind of saw where I saw where it became let the black kids act wild and beat up the white kids, and there's nothing we can really do because if we arrest them or suspend them, you know, or whatever, then you know they're going to call us racists, and you know all the, you know, I saw the fall of
The
like
fall of
equality.
Western fucking civilization.
The fall of equality. No, you know, well, okay. It's like the pendulum. It's like the pendulum we saw in the 2000s, which kind of evened out. You know, because there was a hell of a lot of racism in the country that you know even up into the 70s and the 80s, right? And then we kind of there was this pushback.
It got better for a little bit, and it's not the same kind that like fucking Joe Biden and Barack Obama is trying to say is endemic in society.
Forget those pedos and tranny bangers. Look, I'm talking about okay, and I don't hate all tranny bangers. Love you, Angus. I'm saying what I'm saying is that, dude, you should have seen Rogue the other
Feel
week.
The fat.
Listen, bro. You should have seen Rogue the other week. We had Etep on and Angus on at the same time, right? Now they know each other. They're both Fandom Collective. Like it's not like they don't know each other, right?
They're great, tremendous people.
Yeah. So Etep's on the panel. And he was and Angus was talking about where he was talking about trannies. Like he just came out and said it. He was like, you know, yeah, I bang a tranny. And Etep's eyes, you know, Etep's eyes, you know, he like blew
Let
up.
me introduce you to my friend Black Angus. He's
right. This is my boy Black Angus. He is smart. He will talk you in circles. He will be able to competently defend his own position and tell you why yours sucks in his position. You know what I mean? Like he is one of the smartest. dudes around and passionate about entertainments and fair and fuck. He can hate you and be fair in his assessment, but he also bangs trannies. He's trans fat. So that's where trans fat
he coined
started.
the term.
He coined it, right? That we are fatties. And the reason we say fatties is because he's the trans fatty. So but E-Tep's face, dude. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. It just reminded me of that. But I thought about Big Mike Obama.
I'm gonna ask you, are you going to cover in your book that Star Wars girl and Black Angus and how that went down? Is that relevant to fucking history?
That's like drama. That's like me talking about Snow. Snow and I doing streams about fucking Mary Mayhem. That's
okay.
You know what I mean? That's just drama. Like, why am I going to talk about that?
That's all right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's that's why I said, like, if I do a volume 3, like, then I'd get into that stuff. I'd show the hypocrisy in some of these people who claimed that we're all standing on the same side, fighting against this ideology that, dispenses false information and smears people and tries to destroy their rep. And then, oh, look, here's a list of the same exact people who fought against that, who smeared and destroyed this one, smeared and destroyed this one, smeared and destroyed, you know what I mean? Like, no reason to do that.
A very recent incident, which I think is very relevant to the Fandom Menace, was this South Park episode. The fucking put a chick in it, make her gay, make her
and
gay
lame.
as fuck and lame. Yeah, that should be in the book, dude.
I am thinking about that, and the reason I am is because the Gina pointing it out.
Yes. Dude, she unloaded. She dumped her fucking balls on top of Kathleen Kennedy's face.
She absolutely did. And hail to her standing up to the connections that have been made for whatever anyone thinks of them between herself and Geeks and Gamers and those guys.
3PO. Yeah.
It's 3PO. Yeah, hail trans fatty who won't admit that he was a fatty. I'm doing too well, and I'm hanging out with these guys. You can't hang out with you guys. You're icky, but I'll act like I'm your friend anyway. So, Walton's getting too real. My bad. Let me tuck it back in.
You've gotten real a couple times, man.
People
I consider friends.
I'm sorry, bro. Look,
don't apologize for being yourself.
Trump's my friend. Trump's my friend. Well, I'm calling it out, but I'll call it out. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. I've been called out enough.
Stink. Yeah.
Nobody's shit don't stink, and I've been called out enough on my shit, and I've been called out unjustly on my shit. But I'm gonna keep it real. Yeah. So, but the very first chapter of the book, not the very first chapter, the introduction to the book is written by John Talks, and John begins. John begins this book by talking about
channel, by the way, you guys fucking sub to him. Yeah.
Absolutely. And he began this by talking about Gina. So actually Gina Carano and him talking about her and that situation. That's the introduction made by someone from the Fandom Menace. So it absolutely makes sense to kind of like to bring this topic up, because we're going to talk about the Mandalorian. We're going to talk about Pedro Pascal and
that Luke Skywalker moment in the Mandalorian. Holy shit!
Yes, that's another part of it. Yeah, but like Pedro Pascal, he calls a half of America or more than half of America a bunch of Nazis, right? Like straight the fuck up. Gina Carano brings in the paralleled similarity of having a political ideology, socio-political ideology that makes other people, takes people and classes them as other if you don't follow their progressive way of thinking.
Yes.
Right. And that's
very
how
astute.
The Nazi Socialist Party began. And God, when I was talking to that socialist dude, like I brought that up twice. I had to. I have a Punch a Nazi T-shirt. You're a socialist, right? Yeah. Okay, Nazi. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
the National Socialist German Workers' Party.
So yes, Gina Carano is going to be involved in there. Of course, Drunk's going to get a mention. I mean, there's no way. I don't think I can't. And
do you think he banged her? Do you think he banged her, or do you think they're just good friends?
Hold on for a second.
You're like, I can't confirm or deny.
I cannot confirm or deny anything that I may or may not have heard, because even though motherfuckers may forget who Walton is, Walton remembers when somebody says don't say shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave that ambiguous for now. But
exactly.
That's cool though. So we can expect tremendous things from Volume 2. What's your fucking time frame on that? When do you?
I want to get as soon as possible, and like I said, the universe threw another wrench in my way. I thought I'd be at the place that I'm at till at least the summer. You know, I was told that I had until about August of next year. And so I thought I had the time to, go take martial arts class and go build my money up and go do pay my debts off and then go finish this book. And so now I'm gonna have to do that while I'm moving the fuck again, which is fine, because you know what? I can do it. I can survive anything. I can make anything happen. I'm not going to stop progressing no matter what pitfalls or what hurdles come in my direction. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to try to get this book out as soon as possible. Got the writing software back on my comp, got a new laptop so I could do that. And I've got it downloaded. I've already begun transcribing some of the interviews that I had, that I've already done. And I would love to have it out before Easter. I would love to have it out before Easter. And I understand, guys, it's like 2.5 years too late or late. I apologize. I was being abused and fell apart, and I've
by a whore.
Yeah. Not going to say what anyone. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. But
that's a quote out of my mouth. That's not Stephen Walton.
And while I was going through this manipulative, abusive situation, people who said they were my friends left my side, called me crazy, smeared me. My support system fell apart. They attacked me because I couldn't provide for them, which is kind of a selfish and toxic relationship in and of itself. And the expectations on someone who's actually going through an abusive situation to not have the empathy of understanding that, and to instead gather up your former friends, spread lies about you, and create your own whisper networks in which you been touting for years you're fighting against in Comicsgate and all these other people, to see your former friends who said, I will never be a person who smears others, who holds evidence against them, and then begin streaming with them so they can sell their books. I'm sorry. I'm glad that all of that garbage was flushed out of my life. All those toxic leeches gone. So, and it took one big bad experience for me to be able to recognize that those behaviors in your life. Listen, straight up, y'all, I gotta go with Dragonstorm for a second, but straight up, if you would create boundaries in your life, if you say to somebody, hey, don't go on this thread about Fandom Menace Volume 2 that I'm promoting and tagged a bunch of people, whether they like me or not, because I am promoting a book that is an historical account of them. Don't come on there and start talking trash about my project, friend, about these people, friend, and then go off on me because I'm asking you to respect my work, and then set about stealing the DNA from Rogue Entertainment and smearing me to all my friends. If you set up a boundary and a person is offended by your boundary, that is not your friend and they do not respect you, never did. There's a lot of that has happened. And that's why I said, like, going on to, like, if I do like a Volume 3 or something, then I'd have to go into things like that. And it would become just a bunch of drama. Because, again, it would show the hypocrisy of people who say that they stand up against destroying others' reputations for their own financial viability, destroying others' reputations or labeling them or mislabeling them or going after them because they think differently or they pray differently or they have they're going through something. That is exactly what the Fandom Menace was standing up against: progressive far left ideology, that type of narcissistic sociopathic behavior. And what we saw in the beginning of the Fandom Menace, that first year and a half, a few things, a few fights aside, was generally this group of very diverse and different people coming together for their love of Star Wars and modern mythologies, and standing the line. But unfortunately, egos begin to take over, channels begin to grow, other channels don't. expectations are created. Well, why, your channel's growing. Why is mine not growing? I don't like you anymore. Or, you're hold on. So and so got 10,000 subs. Well, I'm not going to bitch about Star Wars anymore because it's not working for me, and fuck that person's success. There was a lot of expectations there. One of the things that I loved about early trans fat, right? Okay, Jay left, right? Jay left. He had to go on his own journey. The rest of us kind of stayed together. We miss K-Log. K-Log, come back. Please just talk to Corey. Look, Corey's a complete fucking asshole. Okay, listen, K-Log. Corey is a complete fucking asshole. All right, and trust and believe. If I did not start the initial problem between us, then I would not have apologized. But I did. I ate that crow, and I have to forget all of the dickheaded shit, smear campaigns, and bullshit in the Cotton Connection that was thrown at me. The people that were maneuvered to devalue me, that may or may not have been sent by my fatty brother because of the fallout that took place. All right, I know he can be a dick. I get it. But you know what? It's over. It's over. It's been over. It's okay. Come back, K-Log. I would love to see you and fucking Jolly on the same stream one more time. You have no idea how fucking
Banging
people
Miss Piggy.
Yes, you don't know the Listen, the inspiration. I mean, okay, and credit to Snowdub, because Snowdub kept at it, And then look at all the Muppets. Look at all the fucking Muppets that we have now.
Oh yeah.
Like the Cotton Connection became something because he kept at it. Doesn't matter what the fuck you think of them. I don't give a fuck what you think of them. You have to look at a person and their drive and what they've done.
Yep.
Tenacity, bro. Right. Snow kept fucking going. And I respect that. If he and I weren't talking to this day, I'd still respect that. But there's a lot of fallouts that happen because of ego or because of whatever experiences someone's going through in their personal life. They may just act correct. Some people just make mistakes. But, what I have seen, it's something that I say, Ryan Roger Athey. Right, he's someone who has that old culture casino, very early Stephen Walton attitude. He
has that accent too.
Well, we're all on the same. We're all on the same side, right? We're all on the same side fighting the far left, and that's a beautiful delusion to have. It's beautiful. I had that delusion myself. It's a beautiful delusion, but the truth is, and this is coming from my perspective. This is not representative of Mortal Coil or his channel, but you have like, and we're talking about like EVS. EVS create a lot of inspiration. He's also a fucking narcissist, and so if you don't, if you hurt his ego in any way, he's going to get injured, very deeply injured. Never forget it. Act like he's smug and better than you, and attack. Send people after you. Smear your name. And there are toxic people out there who are just as fucking pitiful and evil that will commit to being his little narcissist lieutenants, and that's fine. That's fine for them. It's not fine, but it's what they do. Why would I want to replace Marvel or DC, who is already filled with a bunch of far left moron gobbledygook ideological idiots, who will smear people's names, who will try and sue people over dumb shit or try and smear people, people's reputation. Why would I want to replace that with Comicsgate? And I'm not talking about all of Comicsgate. There's people in Comicsgate that don't really know or unaware what's going on, and they're just kind of like trying to promote their books, and that's whatever. But the core of Comicsgate is, in my opinion, worse than, because the core of Comicsgate should know better. You know what I mean? Van Sciver should know better. Those people should know better than to act.
I want to ask
in those
you,
ways.
as the historian, are there parallels between Comicsgate and what happened with Image Comics, where there was a bunch of professionals who just wanted to do their own fucking thing, but they couldn't because they were under the thumb of a large publisher? So let's go do our own thing.
I mean, it is in the way that, well, there's no contractual obligations. It is a fiefdom, right? So Caesar, I mean, and this is the thing. Okay, look, when I look at people who, I'm just going to say it. So you look at Vinny Tartamella, good artist, right? Very good artist. He's a fulfillment king. He definitely fulfills. He gets that shit out there. He's also very fake in his presentation of who he is. He is as much a drama queen and endorses backstabbing as any comic skater. The difference between him and someone like Ethan is Ethan is right out there loud and proud about who he is. He's Caesar, kneel before me. In his promo, he has Comicus from Gladiator, a narcissist. Like he's the bad guy. And he says that. Now, does he bullshit about does he smarmy about it's okay for me to attack this person because yeah, he does that shit. But he's very genuine in his representation that he's the bad guy. Yeah, he is the bad guy. And some people root for the bad guy and they get behind that. Then you have people like Vinny, who is a bad guy, but he's not honest about it. I don't want to get involved in that drama. I don't do that. I don't smear camp. Yes, you fucking do. Yes, you fucking do. And that's, to me, is worse. You see the same thing in a lot of different areas of what was the fandom menace. We're fighting against this type of ideology. And then they go about practicing it. There's a lot of lunch tables that evolved through beefing with and silently destroying other creators, suppressing other creators. And it's been everywhere. It's just that and that's why I'm saying, taking the book Beyond 2 is really getting into exposing the fact that this group, what started with great intentions and that was fighting the good fight, these different diverse group of people that were all on the same footing, even from different perspectives, fighting this type of ideology, a lot of them fucking embraced that ideology and became our enemies. They became the negative Nancys. They became it's okay for me to smear this person because I don't like them or because I see something in them that makes me feel inferior, so I'm going to project negativity on them and blame them. This happened everywhere. So what happened with Anna and Angus? Angus was calling some shit out. War Campaign was already calling that shit out. This is shit. It is what it is. It was what it was. Now, is it in good taste? Was it in good taste at the moment to say, that? And the thing is, with the Anna situation, she was just coming into fame. She had been successful before in her private life. She's a very private person. I spoke to Anna. She was. Yes, she was. Till she hung out with a bunch of toxic fucking people and became a part of a toxic crowd. Now she's what she is. But when she first started,
brought her a certain measure of success, we should add.
And it did. Well, tenacity, my brother, whether you're a negative person, a toxic person, a positive person, what you know what I mean? If you have tenacity, if you keep
gotta
at
be Walter
it,
Cronkite sometimes. So go ahead.
Yeah, right. If you keep at it, if you keep at, and she kept at it, and she's got tits. I mean, she's pretty good looking. I think she's good looking.
Tits. Yeah.
She has some amazing rack. Anna has amazing rack.
Yeah, she knows that she looks good, especially to nerds, especially to Star Wars nerds. So fucking
COIL, I can't wait for that eventual, because her karma is going to catch up with her. Hanging out with those toxic people, eventually it's going to catch up with her. It will. And I'm waiting for that moment. I'm being patient. I'm not hating. I'm just being patient. That moment when her fame hits that point where it starts going down, where she starts losing momentum and people just don't really give a fuck anymore. And
we can all agree, we can all generally agree that there is a point that women in general hit. It's called the wall. And when your looks and your youth and your hotness are no longer attracting the kind of attention that you want, shit starts to change.
Yes, COIL. Yes, absolutely. But I don't want her sexual marketplace value to have dropped or hit that wall yet. Okay, because I want it to happen before that.
No, dude. Anna's going to be hot for like fucking 10 years, dude.
Oh, absolutely. And but I want when the popularity goes down and we get the OnlyFans, that's what I'm waiting on. I want to see that rack, bro.
I don't know if she's going to go that route. I mean, she might.
We will see tits. We will see tits eventually.
You think
we will see tits. Absolutely.
You think so? Okay.
Because look at the track of the person.
What are the Vegas odds on tits? What are we looking at?
Listen, COIL, listen to me, bro, because okay, I don't know. I'm not friends with Anna or nothing, but I've known her since she first came up. You know what I mean? And she went from a person. She went from a person. I'm not going to rebuke that. I'm just going to let it go to side. So she was a She went from a person who was like kind of shy, found stardom, found fame.
Geeks
Like
and gamers
found like
found her. You
yeah.
know,
Well, she found that dude. That first video she did, fire. That
fire.
first Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker Star
Oh
Wars
yeah,
video,
yeah,
she was
yeah.
absolute pure
And
passion.
she is a
I
hell
love
of
this.
an artist. Dude,
Oh yeah,
she
she's a
can
good,
paint.
great artist.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not taking anything from her talent. I mean, EVS is a great fucking artist. He's also
He
a
is a hell
shit
of an
ass
artist.
dirtbag of a closet fag person.
Mm.
Right. Anyway, so I don't give a shit about. Can you tell I
Yeah.
don't give a shit about what nobody no more?
Can you guys tell he doesn't give a shit about shit?
I don't give a shit.
All right.
But anyway, but okay, going back though. So we're going to see tits. I'll be quick about this because
Okay.
she went from someone who was finding her stride. She was a little shy, you know what I mean, being on social media, which I get because I was too when I first started, and then blossomed. She blossomed. She went through the mistakes that I went through. A lot of us went through when you are a burgeoning social media personality who is learning the game for the first time. She made some missteps, here and there, which everybody does. But then she got attacked, right? This is the genius of Ethan Van Sciver, the genius of this grandiose narcissist. Okay, and I have to give him credit, the manipulation aspect. So he has War Campaign, who are like his soldiers, and they start picking up traction. He becomes jealous of that traction, as narcissists do. Brings in Anna to create a animosity somewhere, to create this fight, this triangulation.
Animosity.
Yeah, animosity. Listen, narcissists create
like
narcissists. Narcissists create triangulation, right? So he pitted. So War Campaign is very patriarchal, very man energy patriarchal, and so
it's a reaction. It's a reaction to feminism, and it's a reaction to feminism in a male-dominated office space where, formally it was like Stan Lee and motherfuckers like that, and then some half-shaved head, purple hair spray painted bitch came in and started wagging fingers at people.
Yeah. Dig it. Well, War Campaign is the pushback to that. Hail War Campaign. And by the way, to be fucking fair, I don't know if any of y'all know this, Hail the Chat comes from them. When I say Hail the Chat, that's to the influence War Campaign had on me, as well as the Rogue Spartan Shield.
RR says animosity.
Animosity, yeah, well put. Yeah. Anyway, so so what he did was he created this. What narcissists do is they pit people against one another. They keep people fighting. They keep infighting going on. So the narcissist can manipulate and do what they do while other people are distracted by fighting one another. And he did that with Anna, that Star Wars girl, and War Campaign. He knew
drama
that War Campaign
craves drama, is what you're saying.
Drama. Well, drama does crave drama, but the narcissist is a puppet master, and he or she is placing people who are going to create drama around them so that they can maneuver, plant ideas, make people jealous, create hyper defense, hyper aggression, while they're playing their games. To manage
the message? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, to manage a message, manage power, but it's to have a feeling of control. Narcissists crave having control over others. And so that's what he did with Anna, right? So he got to, consult Anna, I'm so sorry, and then kind of stand up for her to look like a hero, to control her because she was a rising star. She is talented and she's pretty. And, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's a real fan. She's a true fan. And then War Camp.
She knows her Star Wars, dude.
She knows her Star Wars, right? She's right, legit, And War Campaign knows their shit too. But they were there working with Caesar. They would call him Caesar. They are the War Campaign. They're the soldiers on the field. And he got threatened by their strength. So he triangulated them. So the entire mistake was in that situation. But Angus got caught up in it but Angus was calling out the fucking real deal. That's what Black Angus does. And that's why a lot of people
always does.
That's why some people can't stand that. Some people can't handle being told the fucking down the middle truth. That's what fucking Black Angus does. Yep. And unbiased, unfucking biased, by the way. Like I said earlier,
biased
he can unbiased. he can
Oh.
hate, he can absolutely deplore a person. But if he is talking about a situation between that person and something else, he is going to be fair in his assessment.
Sure.
Yeah, he tells it as, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I love Angus.
Well, that's the
But
military precision too. Yeah.
right. So anyway, yeah. So the mistake was, when Anna's sister went missing, is that, yeah, absolutely,
And
she was out there using every
resource at her, as
resource at her
anybody
disposal,
would.
as
I mean,
anybody
that's like
would.
family. So
But she also was dealing with being, for the first time probably in her life, an open social media personality.
like a public
There,
figure. Yeah.
a public figure. You have hundreds of people who are now already engaged with her because she's knowledgeable. It's Anna, that Star Wars girl. She's talented. She's pretty. She knows what you know what I mean? She's bona fide in what she does as a YouTuber. And you are not, so now you've got not only that base energized, but everybody attached to it, because there's a desperate situation going on, a genuinely desperate situation happening.
Sure.
And so she's going to react in different ways, or act in different ways than she would have if she was still a private figure.
So
and that
high
is
in her emotions.
right.
Is that safe
Right.
to say? Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not, listen, I don't judge that situation at all, because of, like, I understand.
It's a tragedy, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a fucking analysis, right?
Right. It's an analysis. Because I went through it too. Like, I had to learn how to be somebody on the internet, because of the animosity that had been created, the triangulation from EVS and War Campaign and her. There were already people who saw that she was glowing up, who may not have agreed, or were toxic and jealous, or had been pitted against her by, third parties that didn't like her. And so they saw an opportunity to point out, hey, she might be using this situation to get attention. And the truth of it is, she is trying to get attention in that situation. But I don't think, but it is not for the purpose of growing her fucking brand, And that's,
Do you think
that's
it's, so are you saying it's just for regular female attention? Like, she just
no.
feel
It's
good about
to find her,
herself?
to find her fucking sister. You know what I mean? To find yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. Nothing negative. Like,
Sorry.
look at that. No, it's okay. It's easy to get caught up in, like, the negative aspect of that time, or because it was very controversial, and it broke up a lot of friendships, and it basically emasculated.
Well, she
publicly
pointed a
emasculated
dagger at
people.
one of our friends, and that's
Exactly.
and it basically it was tantamount to character assassination. She publicly took him down and, like, effaced him.
Yes. Now, this is the thing, right? So this is the thing. This is what narcissists do.
And do you categorize her as one?
No. She was a victim. She's a victim in that scenario.
Right. We just got to make that clear. Now describe the scenario.
Absolutely. You have Ethan, who's a grandiose narcissist, who is creating this triangulation conflict between Anna and War Campaign. There's already animosity. People support work. People are tribalistic. People support this. People support that. So you've already created this drama, which is what Comicsgate does. It creates drama. It destroys people. It's not destroying people's reputations and creating drama in order to elevate specific people's projects. And so this is one of those times. Anna is already hyper defensive and hyper aggressive. She's got this fucking narcissist in her ear telling her one thing. He's turning around, going to War Campaign and saying another. And so she's already, you know what I mean? She doesn't feel like, imagine a one person standing up against a crew of people. All right. War Campaign is a crew of people. She is one person. And even though she has friends, quote unquote friends, she's by herself. She's on her own. I understand this. Because I just went through this past year. You feel like, so here comes Angus. Here's an outlet who's someone smaller, someone who doesn't have as much influence, somebody who's coming up, somebody who is her, in her mind, where she is. And because of everything that she's going through, she is now going to take out her frustration, her everything she's going through with war campaign and the manipulation from EVS, and she's going to take it out on him. And that made Angus a victim in that situation. You know what I mean? It's a reactive abuse. It is creating more drama, which in turn leads back to the original instigator of all this, which is Ethan Van Sciver, and he's getting off on all of it. He's getting all, look at look, she went off on him because we twisted her up so much. You know, like that's how these people are. Meanwhile, Angus gets screwed, and at
He got
that moment,
royally screwed.
he
Like
got
Angus
royally
should be
screwed.
like 10 times more famous than he actually is.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
actually had to have a talk.
I
I had a
talk to
talk
him
with
all the
Angus
time.
months ago, when he first started coming back after, because he had some personal things he had to get through,
Sure.
and then he started coming back.
Yeah.
And you know, thank my brother enlightened me to something that had disturbed him, and that had kind of put a wedge between us that I didn't even realize that had been done, you know.
Yeah.
And thank God for that. It's like Angus could have never talked to me again. He could have said, this dude rubbed me wrong, this dude said this or went this way, and I'll never talk to him again. He didn't do that. Same
Well,
thing with
he's
Snowden.
fair. He fucking calls his fucking shots, just like you
Right.
said. Yeah.
And I didn't know. And to be honest, like he enlightened me, because I not only had forgotten what it was I had said, but I didn't even realize that I was a person who would have said that. But again, like Anna and like many of us, we were all learning how to be in the public eye for the first time. So I made mistakes. I mean, I made mistakes too. It's just, when you look at, there's a bunch of us out there. General Zod. All right, Zod.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool dude. Zod's
He's
a pretty cool
alright.
dude. PP,
Yeah.
PP's all right. Pretty cool dudes. You know, they're not, not my friends. I don't really hang out with them. Definitely have had, spits here and
They're
there.
not
between
men
us.
of ill repute, though. Yeah, I got you.
No, they're not. Now, you talk about who is that fucking black dude? That one guy.
Who? Mark with the C?
No, Mark with a C. No, none of ours.
I love
Oh, what's
Mark
his
with
name?
the C.
No, oh God, I love Mark, dude. Mark is awesome.
Man.
God, he hangs out with those guys. I don't know, purple. something.
Demogeny?
Oh. No, none of those. No. Get out of the dark.
Oh,
Council.
those
None
are
of
all
those
like
guys.
fucking fabulous people. Don't associate
Yeah.
bad taste of mouth with. Yeah.
Okay. And I can't remember his name, but
Anyway,
he himself. Now this is from the outside looking in, because I never really hung out at that lunch table. I just knew those, some of those guys.
tangentially, sure.
Yeah. Okay. You had one negative Nancy over there, one crab in a bucket, and that crab in the bucket created problems with so many other people on the periphery that it stifled the growth of
Was
Zod.
it a female?
No, it wasn't a female. It was a male.
Okay,
It was a
okay.
male. Oh no, excuse me. I would
Oh,
classify.
never mind.
I would classify that racist black guy as a mangina.
Okay.
A mangina. Yeah. But he created so much animosity and with other people that it stifled their growth. And like, I think that like for Drunk 3PO, I think that was kind of one of the reasons he distanced himself from the fatties, was because he was going in a certain direction, and he didn't, for himself,
Optics.
for his own optics, he did not want to associate with a group that was still friends with, I think possibly still friends with Angus, because of everything that happened with Anna. But not just that, but it was just like, I'm going in this direction and I need to do this, and that was for him, and it worked. It worked for him, kudos to him. But some of us decided to take certain paths that were not the productive, socially productive optical path, but the path that we felt was more aligned with our authentic selves as friends, as you know what I mean, as the connection between us as friends.
So
I mean, one of the
loyalty above the fucking optics.
If loyalty is above optics, you are going to grow slow unless you are just a blazing point of light that just doesn't go, like Gary. All right.
Or hooked up beyond fucking measure. Yeah.
Or hooked up beyond it. Yeah. talented and everything. Well, it's just like, it's just tenacity. Keep working at yourself. There's like people I can't stand out there. I can't understand at all. I can't understand. I didn't even know who John Delarose was. I can't even understand why in any fucking universe a guy you look at and you're like, that dude's slimy. I wouldn't trust him around my daughter or my son. Like, like you could tell that he's a toxic, disgusting person. I have no idea how this fucker has how many subs he has or his popularity is at. No fucking idea. But he probably sacrificed friendship or connection in favor of progression, prosperity, and however he got it. Considering who he's connected with, it was definitely at the expense of destroying other people. But but it doesn't matter. You keep working on it and you're going to grow. I learned that with Dragonstorm. I cut everybody the fuck out, dude. Like we come from the model, COIL. We come from the model, right? We come from the model of we promote each other. We rise together. We come from the we rise together model. Did
you coin that term? I think you did.
We rise together is mine. Rise together, but that comes from Rise Together. That's Fandom Collective. That comes from Fandom Collective. Yeah, but like I cut everybody the fuck out and went and did my own thing and grew. It's all about consistency, dedication, and that's how you grow. And marketing yourself in the right areas. Like I didn't just say fuck. I didn't just give a middle finger back to all of the leeches who had fucking used me while I was popular, and then the minute I was in trouble ditched me and left me for fucking dead. I went off and I talked to people on TikTok. I talked to other narc abuse coaches. I actually developed relationships with my subscribers, followers, depending on what platform I'm on. Had those conversations, and I did get absolutely got a couple shout outs. That's how I got at least 3,000 of my subs was some shout outs, but it was an authentic exchange of I'm building this. I'm doing this content. What can I learn from you? How, what have you learned? How do I talk to people?
Well, if you guys can do me a favor, like shout me out and hit the like and subscribe and forward this to your friends and blah blah blah, because this is a very entertaining conversation. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Walton's all out tonight. Yes, but to the tenacity, right? Like that means something. Consistency means something. You can and I can tell you from personal experience, you can lose your shit. And you can lose your shit, be abandoned by most of your friends. Not only that, but smeared, stepped on, made fun of, made to feel isolated, made to feel dejected. You can go through all that and continue to thrive. And not only that, but prosper. It can happen. So never give up on yourself and always keep it pushing.
So the path through self-servants towards the authentic self. That is what I would like to advocate. Yeah. And it's one of those things, like you're aware of all the perceptions. You're aware of what friend A thinks about friend B. You're aware of how you look and how you're positioned, but you're still determined. The pathway to success, I think, comes at the surrender of ego.
Oh my brother, so my spirit guide, I mean the medium I talked to, what you're going to do is this is what she said to me. You're going to take your ego, you're going to take little Steven and put him on a shelf.
Little Steven.
That's what
we're going to put you right over here, little guy.
That's what, yes, that's dude. If I wasn't so in the mindset that I would have laughed. Yeah, because I mean that's great. But she said you're going to take your ego and put it aside. You're
going to pinch this off and sit it right over here.
Right.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
That I learned
there
as an overly sensitive empath. with weak boundaries who believed that everyone had the same basic moral and ethical standards that he did.
RR says, little Walton in the show.
Yes, no doubt, dude. I heard a couple things. I went on a date with a tall chick recently, and the short jokes all over the place. So
no, but that's an Amazon. That's like Diana, right?
Yeah. You know what she said? Yo, right? So
What's that?
I'm not gonna. So we were walking to the motel room, and she says, we were drunk as shit. She was like, I don't feel like walking. I said, I can carry you on my back. And she goes, yeah, but my feet will probably still hit the ground. So,
pow pow woman.
Yeah, right. Yo, so cool. Anyway, so be your authentic self. Like, what I have learned is boundaries. First off, boundaries. Like I said earlier, guys, boundaries. Have strong boundaries. If someone does not respect your boundaries, they do not respect you. They do not care.
Cutting out, Walton. Where are you?
Help me to get through this.
There you go.
You know, right? That. You know, I had allowed disrespect. There were so many red flags that happened with people that I had been talking to and I helped to build for so fucking long, and I just let it go because I was like, they're having a bad day or that's just how they are. No. If someone doesn't respect your fucking boundary, fuck them. Give them one chance. If it happens twice, that is a history of actions. You know who that person is. They do not respect you. Fuck them. Also, select who you care about. Select carefully. Okay,
your inner circle is fucking pristine. So there is a tenet that the 5 closest people to you compose your personality. So
yes.
Who the fuck are you standing next to?
Ooh, at this point in time, like, who's my people?
that's rhetorical.
Oh, that's rhetorical. Okay, cool. Because I don't
understand. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's like you are the sum total of the 5 closest people to you. So who the fuck are standing next to you? So go ahead.
You have to make those. You really, really be careful about that decision.
Yep.
There's it's cool to go out and help somebody up. Pick somebody up. I went out and brought Red Gaze into the Rogue 4. Because Red Gaze was under attack by people in the community. I brought in a Drew Taylor, because Drew Taylor was under attack by people in the community. I brought these people in, and that's all well and good. Like, if you're going to look out for somebody, look out for them. But understand, there is a chance that person will not appreciate what you've done. And, you have to be careful and very selective with whom you surround yourself with and whom you help, because the truth of it is, if you are you
doing
it
for them, or are you doing it for you?
Are you doing it for them or doing it for you? Good fucking point. Very good point. Very good point. Are you doing it to make yourself feel better? Am I being a hero by doing this? Part of the experience that I went through over the last couple of years, part of that was a white knight syndrome that got me hooked into that situation.
It's that fucking 10 of Wands thing.
In reverse, in fucking reverse. Yeah. But you're the people you surround yourself with. Those are your peeps. Like, so at this point, I have everything. I'm the center of my universe. But not in an egotistical way, in an authentic way. I do not destroy or disparage or use anyone in order to support me at the center of my universe. I just am who I am. I am I. Then I have my family, very, very close people, and there are very select friends in that circle that I consider family.
Cutting out.
Then there's. I'm sorry.
Where are you, Steven? You got to have your core.
Okay.
There.
See, yeah, I'm right here.
All right. You cut out for a second.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I took it off Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have your core, and then you have your inner circle, your friends. Then you have you be your inner circle family, very very select friends in that circle, and then you have the outer circle. Those are the people that only get so much of you. And then there's
Peripheral.
the
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Then there's the circle outside of that, people you hardly know, that only get so much of you. One other thing that I learned, and this was tough for me to learn because I'm a very honest person, is that some people who proclaim to be very honest people are not honest people, and um, not everyone deserves your honesty. And I'm not saying be deceptive or be a liar. What I'm saying is shut your fucking mouth. Some
Well,
people don't deserve you.
not everybody deserves your fucking authentic self. And
Yes,
there's a point where your ambassadorial skills come into play with the general public, but general public is not the same as intimate partner, right?
very true. Very well
Yeah.
said. Well said. Yeah. Yeah.
That
So,
was my inner Palpatine.
oh, and that's another point. And that's another point. Learn how to be the bad guy,
Hmm.
because especially for people like, and I think Coil is the same as in the same way as me. People who really love others, really want to see people succeed, really want to see people get along, loving each other, progressing forward to the future, working together. People like that. At least for me, I wasted that on people who didn't deserve it, and then
Hmm.
I would feel bad if they hurt me. I would, because they must be having a bad day, or you know what, I'm going to let that go because something must have happened to them. No, sometimes you got to be the fucking bad guy.
Well,
You have.
I have an
Go ahead, bro.
investment in the human race. Okay. I've been selected to help further the human race in some ways, but it's also one of those things that if you have the cognition and the vision to conduct yourself as a superior man, why shouldn't you?
Well,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah,
if you
I'm not saying
know the
fight every fight.
truth, yeah, if you know the truth and choose to ignore it, then are you truly an upright man? Go ahead.
There was a car going by. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. But you don't always have to talk. What I mean by like learn how to be the bad guy is learn how to say no. That really offends some people. Learn how to not give a shit if someone's having a temper tantrum. There's a difference between somebody having a bad day and saying something wreck. There's a difference between someone loves you, they will be there for you down to dick in the dirt, no matter what you're going through. But they have a bad attitude and they have shit they still have to work through. Does that exist? We all have damage. Um, there's a difference between that and a person who smiles at your face, acts like your friend, is actually jealous of who you are, and the moment you do not provide to them what they have decided upon themselves, you have promised to help them with, right? Nothing you said or did, but because of their own toxicity, because of their own lack of internalization, they are expectant of you. So they have created this contract with you that you are unaware of. And when you're unable to fulfill their selfishness and they turn on you, you take that for what it is. That is, a person does not care about you,
Mm.
prioritizes their own selfishness and ego over you. And that happened to me so many times over the last year and a half, which was heartbreaking and actually kept me from healing quite a few times because I was heartbroken. My, people that I loved and I helped, and people whose channels I helped to get monetized, and right, because I could no longer help them. Well, I'm just upset because a girl broke up with me. I'm just upset because I didn't get what I want. I'm just upset because I'm always playing the victim. Like, you know what I mean? Like all this shit comes out, and that was due to me not being able to fulfill a contract with them that they created in their heads, um, you know, like it was a that to help them. I no longer fulfilled the function in their life of helping to pull their cart. And because I was down and out and I needed help, I was then useless. And now I'm a piece of shit. Like there are people in your life, and I'm not saying they're narcissistic. I mean, well, that is narcissistic. I'm not saying they're narcissists or not saying they're this or that. Definitely toxic. But there are people in your life it could be family, could be friend, could be whoever, could be coworker,
Generally
that will
speaking.
be,
Yeah.
generally speaking, right? That will act like that to you. And if you are a person who doesn't know how to be the bad guy, who doesn't know how to say fuck you and walk, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Be assertive. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. You're way more eloquent in your description. Thank you.
Well, no, and I get what you're saying. Like, you can't be afraid to be the asshole because, let's face it, at a certain point, society only respects assholes, which is a crime in itself, like on the surface. But if you think about it, it's if we go back to the discussion of kung fu and chi, it's dominance and submissiveness,
You
and
have to
can,
know.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm not. You have no. It is. You said like it's a crime in itself. It's a crime against niceness, rainbows and bubbles.
Well,
You know,
we have that utopian fucking fantasy that's never going to manifest itself unless we get over our, need to kill each other. And that's not going to happen because that's endemic to the species. We were bred for war, and you can't unbreed that. And even if you could, it's not going to be respected. Women aren't going to fuck non-fighters. Women are only going to fuck the dominant.
Or the assertion of the relentless pursuit of it. So
or the mind trick. Yeah.
It's a mind trick. Yeah. Like so okay, no, I don't want to go those. Okay, put it this way. I really
We're
don't want to talk
some deep psychology right now.
Yeah.
So,
I really don't want to talk about my past experiences in more than I need to reference. So okay, why did the United States of America steamroll over the Plains Indians? All right. It wasn't just a lack of technology. It wasn't just a difference in the level of technology. It was the reason for the technology. It was the reason. It was dominance. It was taking control, whether you're good or bad. Same thing with growth and progression, tenacity.
It was the will of the force. It was allowed.
It was the will
happen.
You had the Plains Indians who lived alongside nature. Not saying that they were all peaceful. Of course, they had tribal wars and all that. But
they cut each other's throats. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, but they were way more closer to the natural rhythm of the earth, more utopian, if you will, than the United States in the 1800s. But the United States of America were expansionists. They were dominant. They went in and they dominated. You are not. Listen, you could be the great. Listen, guys. I've been the nice guy for way too fucking long when it comes to relationships. All right, not saying I was a player like when I was young, but I come at relationships with a very honest, loyal, perspective, supportive way. Okay, and I have lost women to dudes who are despicable cheaters, hit them, beat them, lie to them, because those dudes are relentless in their assertion of dominance. And that is why they got the girl. You know what I mean? And of course, there's an argument that can be made for the quality of girl involved. Yes, I chase toxic, but I did chase toxic. But dominance rules. All right, dominance rules. That's why you have some of the people that I mentioned who have hundreds or tens of thousands of subs, who have or are successful, because they can be shit people all day long, but they assert control, dominance, tenacity, and they keep progression
over their domain. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. And that is why they succeed. So that be the bad guy now and again. All right, you're gonna hurt some fifis. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to leave people behind, and it's not because you're leaving them behind because you don't like them or you don't love them. A reference. I'll reference Jay. I'll reference Drunk 3PO in this. All right. Sometimes you can't. There were certain people he couldn't put his energy into. He was putting his energy into himself. He was taking the path of success. He was going in the direction that gave him success, and that's what he manifested. For whatever you think of him, he became successful. And it's not. And I honestly don't believe it was in any kind of negative way. Like he wasn't like, I'm ditching you guys, or I'm not going to hang out with you no more, or anything like that. Because like even when Jay wasn't streaming with me or talking to me, he'd still call me on the phone. We'd still talk. Like I don't know. He didn't abandon me. He's told me secrets that I to this day have not divulged. Because I honor that, and I think he understood that, and that's why we can have that connection for so long. But
nobody's asking, but okay, so to take this back to Savage and
everybody
spiritual,
asked, bro.
To take this back to Savage and spiritual,
yeah,
there is a balance between, I don't know if I want to call it the shadow self, but like there's a person that you present to the outer society, and there's a person that you know yourself to be.
Authentic ego and super ego.
Yeah. Now, how do you balance that, and how do you make sure that you don't become overshadowed by the politician?
Oh, so what venue are you playing in? When I begin a stream or end a stream, I've gone back to it. I am author Stephen Walton, the fandom, and your historian. Right. That's ego. That's projection of strength. That's ego. Like I know that's ego. It's knowing where the ego begins and the authentic ego ends and authentic self begins. And then you have super ego. One of the people who did super ego really fucking well was Master of TDS. Really fucking well. I know TDS and Writing Raven. They bless those couple. They helped me get through the experience I went through. Genuinely good people. But you look at TDS out on Twitter, that is all kinds of super ego. He is affecting fifis everywhere. He is projecting a personality that he really is a caring dude. He's a very empathetic and caring and thoughtful man. But you look at his Twitter, he is like the ball of steel. The balls of fucking steel. Like he's out there. I don't give a shit what you think. Like fuck you, SJW. That is the difference. Like that's you have to know where it ends and where it stops. Where like he takes time. Him and Raven take time off the internet. What they're he's Jewish, so he observes the Jewish traditions, and that's his time to get with God, to get with his authentic self, to spend time with his wife, and then he comes back. But look at how the growth that he's created. Drunk 3PO. Go back to him again. Because fuck you. Because I hope you're listening, Jay. Because you have the authentic Jay, and then you have the ego and the super ego, and you can tell the difference. You can see it. Who else? But then you have people. You know what? Then you have people like Abu Nas, who you're gonna fucking get. The only time that you see Abu Nas project ego at all, I think, is when he's singing, when he's doing his craft.
Yeah,
because
he's hard for me to digest, man. I respect him for what he's done, but
but he's authentic, and he is authentic. Like he's going to tell you who the fuck he is.
I can't say that he's not. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. Who else? Like, so you know what? So Gary, I'm going to do. Carry authentic balls to bone. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's a little ego here and there when he's fucking playing, but I think the reason that he became is the one that is the biggest out of all the old fandom menaces. He's the one.
Nerdrotic.
He's number one.
Yeah.
Nerdrotic. Yeah, because his authentic self shines. He doesn't really need ego. His authentic self is powerful.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So like for me, and it's something that I had to learn, missteps that I had to go through. knowing yourself is very important, as we were saying earlier. Knowing who you are is very important. Because there were times in the last few years that I was unknowingly being ego instead of authentic. And so, and that helped and hindered me, because my belief in my ego being my authentic self was a powerful projection. But at the same time, it was off-putting to someone who could see what I couldn't see about me. And it's also off-putting in the way that you're not truly manifesting your destiny if you're not coming from a position of authenticity. So knowing yourself, if you know yourself well enough, you know when the ego begins. And so I think that's key. That's very key. And also help you in knowing who you are. So now when I go out, if I go on a stream, if I ever actually go out on the streams again,
if you stream again,
yeah, well, on other people's streams, I'm going to recognize that when I'm being the Fandom Menace historian, I'm being the ego. I know what that is. That's the ego, and then I'll know if I'm answering a question authentically or if I'm being authentic in a talk or a situation. So that's good YouTuber and life advice.
We appreciate you being yourself here on this channel. And like I was trying to say before, I don't know if I expressed this publicly or if it was the green room fucking talk, but there is very few people that I can blatantly be myself with. And when I say that, it's to the extent of my entire character. I can tell you as unequivocally that I laid with aliens as I can say I did kung fu. And
you are intergalactic. You are an intergalactic kung fu pimp.
Well, and there's an investment in the earth is what I'm trying to say. There's no there's no bullshit. There's no subterfuge. And listen, none of my friends get along with you, and you don't get along with a lot of them, and that's not a fucking problem. It really comes down to I trust you, and you trust me, and that's it.
I'm so gay for you right now, Coil. God, it's because we're fatties. You know what I mean? Like there's something about our crew. Like
there's something in the pants that's at least 6 by 6 by 6.
It's absolutely, bro. Yes, I'm sorry. It is. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Thank you very much thank you for believing in me and for understanding what I went through. Thank you for not judging me while I was going through an abusive situation and had PTSD and didn't know who I was and what was going on. Thank you for not being one of the people who said they loved me and said they were my friend for years and then turned around and stabbed me in the back because whatever reason. That means so much to me, dude. I'll always be here for you.
And that's what I have to say is that, especially like 504C and Title 17 and blah, blah, blah. It's one of those things you can't outright dismiss somebody because of what they have walked through. Okay. I get that some people might have had a terrible experience. That's fine. That happens to everybody. But it's one of those things that if you really think about it, it's holding a mirror up to yourself. You're uncomfortable with the thing that's reflecting back at you. You can't deal with the shadow aspect of yourself. And I'm not pointing fingers at anybody specifically. I'm just fucking saying it as a statement of nature.
Listen, bro, listen, and you know as well as I do that if that statement pisses a single person off, that person knows what you're talking about and they are being affected in that way and they are upset with you by that truth being told. Wow. And that goes for anybody. very early on. Do you remember the talks we had very early on in Trans Fat when we were like, "Don't be jealous of your brother's success"?
Yeah.
You remember we used to say that. We used to say that all the time to each other because we kind of felt we're all dudes, so we're in this kind of friendly competition. Like where who can get to 1,000. Who can right? Well, who can get to 1,000 first? Who can so and so. But there was this. I don't know what moment it was. One of us got one of we really remember when Lethal wanted to quit, and we were like, "No, you're not fucking quitting. You're going to keep going." And then he's Geeks and Gamers like the next month. Like that's what real friends do. They support one another. And another thing that we had to get over was not being jealous of someone else's success. Like, no, we got to celebrate that success. So and so just got a live stream or got on a live stream with a 10,000K channel, like a 10K channel. We got to be happy for them, for the subs that they got, for the connections they're making. Like, we cannot be jealous. If we're jealous of their success, that means there's something wrong with us. And that was something we had. That was a culture I still hold on to. I've always held on to because I thought that was one of the most healthy things that we, as a group of friends, did. Was decide that we're not going to hate because
the core value. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's not, we rise together. Like, we really do rise together, and it's something that, and on a very broad, very open way, people like Ryan Roger Athey, who still holds that tenet, we're all on the same team because we're all in the same sphere, or we're all connected. And so in that way we shouldn't be jealous of somebody else's success. But the truth of it is that that's a fairy tale, and it really comes down to you being authentic, you growing your stuff. If somebody else doesn't like it, fuck them, they're jealous for the wrong reasons. But one of the reasons why we came up with that is for what you just said. When you have an insecurity, when there's something in you that feels deficient, that you haven't faced, the unresolved issue, any fucking one of us can do this. Any fucking one of us, anybody. And you see somebody else who is exuding that quality that you feel you are deficient in or you are insecure about.
That majesty.
Right. If you take that down a negative path, which any of us are capable of doing, then you will project negativity at that person. You will create a narrative around that person, why you don't like them. Not because of anything they actually did, but because you are looking at a mirror of yourself and you don't like. Right.
Yeah, so that's the lesson of Braveheart. William Wallace in the Mel Gibson movie, which is completely aside from the historical character. He inspires rebellion amongst his fellow Scotsmen, but amongst the nobles, he poses a threat. So they set him up, and he is drawn and quartered, eviscerated, and ultimately martyred.
Yeah. And hot damn, man. If I don't fucking feel like I went through that fucking
well, we all do, and that's like the trials of maleness, especially in this fucking modern era. I can't think of another time when it's been more incorrect to be an upright male and embracing your masculinity and just being a fucking dude with testicles. It's insidious, dude.
Dude, it is. I did a couple videos. I was just testing the waters, right? On Dragonstorm. I did a couple just for men videos, right? Where I just told a fucking cold ass truth. Cold fucking truth, about when you deal with women. And the amount of hate. I had a video, dude, that for the first time, it almost had more dislikes than likes. But
nice.
a
ratio is still a ratio.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, right. But the traffic was insane. It was like 13,000 views in, like 2 or 3 days because all these women were so pissed. Hold on, wait. Are you trying to say that I have to take accountability for my actions, male? Is that what you're saying? Like, they were so upset and they read into it whatever they wanted to read into it, whether it was their past experiences or their indoctrination or what they had been taught, what toxicity they had been taught. And then you had dudes who were like betas, soy boys, who were coming. No, that's not how it should be. Women are queens.
Fucking white
and
knighting.
You should
Yeah,
always,
yeah.
yeah, okay. And I don't have any balls, but you know, but then there were dudes that came through was like, yeah, solid, 100%. You're absolutely fucking right. Like, yeah, you've got to assert dominance. Make a woman be accountable for herself. If she does not act like
bullshit.
if she does not act like a queen, she does not deserve to be treated like a queen.
To
and
be
make sure
elevated to the fucking title. Yes, sir.
right, and make sure she earns that shit from the jump. It is what it is. And to be fair, one of the comment that I pinned actually on that video was a woman who came through, and it wasn't your typical, well, that's the same thing for men. It wasn't that. It was a well thought comment. It was, you know, and we women should do the same
beta
thing.
Simps.
Yeah, beta simps. Yeah, but you know, this woman came through and said, "Yeah, and we queens need to make sure that you know we make men prove themselves to be kings." Absolutely, she understood that I was speaking to my brothers. You know, she didn't take it in a toxic way, and that's true. Like ladies listen to this. Make sure you're a man. Make sure that you know your potential man proves his fucking self to be worthy of your undying affection, of your loyalty and love. Make the fuck sure, you know, like it's both sexes. But yeah, but Fifis were hurt. Fifis were fucking destroyed because a mirror was placed in front of them where they had to take accountability. Yeah, yeah, you know, dude, I'm telling you, like. It makes me want to create a channel and just do men's advice and say the most fucking ignorant shit.
Dude, I would join you on a fucking podcast in an instant if you did that.
Yeah, I might. Dragonstorm is not that place, but maybe in the future, like author Stephen Walton. Maybe author Stephen Walton, we can do that.
Well, think about it. If there's especially a time and a place, let's talk about that offsides. But
yeah. You're right. Savage. Get back to Savage.
Yeah. But it's one of those things. As a woman, do you think it's her job to challenge the man to assert himself in that fucking position? Or do you think she's just emotional and weird?
Only in some instances is it her job to do that. If that man needs a push, you know what I mean? Like a good woman should know when a man needs to be challenged in order to get himself fucking motivated and not do it in a way that's going to break him.
What's the ideal situation? Maybe I should ask that. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
That's okay.
The ideal situation for something like that would be he's feeling too sorry for himself. All right. Okay. So if a toxic woman will, not allow a man to be vulnerable. Okay. Man goes out to work. He's facing the world. He is facing his friends. He's facing the world. All right. I mean, other male friends, because males, we show playful aggression toward one another all the time. It's just a part of who we are.
Yeah.
When a man comes home to his woman, that is when he can be vulnerable. That's when he should be able to be vulnerable. That is when he can show emotion that he can't show to the outside. Yeah. So a dude who comes home who's depressed or has gone through something should find that mother, kind of a mother energy in a woman and his woman partner, you know, that loving,
selecting
supporting
her to be the mother of his progeny. So
right.
Continue.
So if a woman challenges him and just makes disparaging comments like buck up, dude, what the fuck, man up, then he's not able to be emotional. He's not allowed to have that side of himself, which men need to have. We do have that side, and that is that's a toxic environment. Now, if you have a supportive woman at home and you are feeling bad about yourself, something really bad happened, it's been 3 days, 4 days, a week and a half, it is now becoming a trend in the man to that he is developing a cycle.
Further internalizes it.
Yes, right.
Sir. Yeah.
All right. Now, then it is his woman's job to ball check him. You know, man up. Who the fuck? Hold on. This is not you. This is not who you are. What the fuck is going on? Why are you not getting up and getting shit done? That's the man I know.
Yeah. she should draw it out of him. So
Yeah.
whatever he is feeling compelled to internalize, she should be able to nurture out of him.
Yes, absolutely. Just in
Yeah.
the same way that men bring logic to the illogical world of a female.
Fuck yeah, especially when she's crazy and just, at the fucking roof. And
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
like, hey, come down here. Let's fucking talk about this. Let's be Mr. Spock for a second.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. It used. I can't go back there. Jesus. All right.
It's okay.
There is. I'm still learning how to do that. How to navigate that.
Yeah.
So. Right, because a woman's brain is a tangled mess. From a male perspective, it is a tangled mess of
tangentially.
connections.
So if you picture a neuron, you know what a fucking neuron looks like. There's an axon and a dendrite and a fucking cell body, but they're all connected by emotion. And it's,
Yes.
like that's
Right.
what they crave. And like to a point, that's what attracted them to you because you represent that stability. But at the same time, they want the craziness. It's a
It is.
conundrum.
It's
and a fucking
crazy
riddle and a yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's totally fucked up. Yeah, it absolutely is, and it's messed up how, in order to secure a mate as a man, that you have to be cold and dismissive in order to get them to want you. But at the heart of it, the man is actually seeking a person, a woman that they can trust to be vulnerable with. So it's like it's a mess. Dealing with women. I think I love y'all women. I do. I love vagina, but Jesus, oh my Lord.
Well, and let's go back to the ancient mythology. So the Zulu say that there was once a being who was more both, and the sky gods came down and split them. They led them into a cave, and this is according to Credo Mutwa, who was one of the last Zulu shaman. And there's actually documentation of him saying this on the fucking internet, so I'm not just shitting out my ass. But it was one of those things that, okay, we were once a combined being, we got split, and then we had to turn to each other because we each lack what the other needed.
Yeah, I mean, it's taking the Adam's rib. Yeah,
Correct. And that's actually not a bad metaphor. Genetically we all start as females, but it takes a certain amount of testosterone from the Y chromosome to turn us into men.
It does. Yeah, it's a chromosome that gives logic and reason to that developing being.
Well, and dominance in the fucking shape of hands. So we were talking about kung fu, and that's like, that is how you actually create your fucking spear around you. And you don't have to do it necessarily violently, but you have to do it. If you fail to do that, somebody else will. And then you're living in his fucking frame of mind. And Steven's gone.
Yeah. No, I'm not going. I have to check my battery power. One side of I'm on mobile.
All right.
So but you know what? Going back real quick, since we're talking about the male-female dynamic and energy.
And this is the conversation.
I recently had sex, and it was
with a cock.
With my dick. I actually used my penis and put it in a vagina.
Inside a vagina. Yeah.
It was inside of it a couple times, actually. It was inside a vagina. And that vagina was a wellspring, by the way. Okay. I've never been rained upon like I was. Anyway, so in the back, I'll tell you. So look, and it was a healthy energy, coil, healthy energy. I did not feel attached, toxic, crazy, wound up. after this energy exchange. I felt good. I felt
Nice.
healthy. I know.
Rejuvenated.
Yes, I felt the positive effects of sharing your sacral chakra energy with another, and it was a very awesome experience. I don't ever remember feeling it before. Probably a long time ago. Maybe my ex-wife. She was a good woman. The last good woman I ever was with. But it was a great. I had a good time. I had a great time, and yeah, I just wanted to share that with you because you were the one who kind of gave me the coaching about the exchange of
Oh,
sexual
yeah.
energy. You
How
know,
that works.
so
So
yeah, you're the one that
is
kind of
this
guided me
a
through that.
is this a female who you intend to pursue relations with? And I fucking hate to make that sound so political.
No, it was a
And
fuck buddy, but it was a
it
fuck
was a
buddy that I have that I was very familiar with. That we've known each other for decades upon decades, and
was she
someone that I
similarly aware of how energies play? Like, were you guys both conscious, or
oh
was it
yes,
like you were
yes.
fucking her and she was?
No, it
Go
was an
ahead.
exchange. It was an understanding between two people, that this was a healing experience,
Mm.
because of the well, fuck it, I don't care. I'm out there because of the
And you cut out at the fucking appropriate time.
in exchange being that personal with a woman. So she understood all of that, and that this was a healing experience, mentally, physically, and spiritually, and was very copacetic, and we had a great fucking time. I took this woman out like I was, dude. I opened the door for her, sit up when she got up from the table, brought her a gift before the date, like everything. I treated her like a lady, like I was a gentleman about this, and it was a beautiful experience. It was something that I have. It is energies and gestures that I have wasted on less deserving women, but at this time it was very deserving, and I had a great time. So no, I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm not placing any. I'm not looking for a relationship. She knows I'm not looking for a relationship. I have to work on me. I got to build me. I'm at the point in my life where my sexual marketplace value should be a little higher than it is, and I need to raise that. Um, and she was just looking out for a friend and enjoying a night out with someone that she trusted. So it was. It also helped that she also went through a narcissistic abuse relationship. She had healed from it 2 years ago, so she understood. And you know what's weird, Coil? Ashley, that read my cards, Ashley Black.
Yeah.
She's she's been through that, and the medium I talked to, she had also been through that. So it's like I'm attracting people who have healed from this, that understand what I have been through and where I'm at. So it's been really
So perhaps
blessed.
the wave has crested.
Yeah, give me a second. I gotta switch my headphones.
No, that's fine. I really appreciate you guys hanging on. We've been doing this for about 2.25 hours. I'd like you to thumbs up, subscribe, fucking share this shit out. This is gold conversation. This is shit you won't get anywhere else. This is man advice for men, savage spirituality. So here we go. Okay, so we'll say this like this.
Testes. Okay, good.
There you are. Where the fuck have you been?
I'm
So
sorry.
no, it's all good. So we've talked about determination, we've talked about form and stance, we've talked about internal training, we've talked about the mind game.
We talked about dicks and vaginas.
We talked about dicks and vaginas. That's a go-to.
So we're on status quo for the show.
Yeah, so I mean, we've covered the alpha and the omega. I think that it's probably about time. Where can we find you, sir? Sound off.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys being here every week. We do this show as often as possible at the same time every Saturday or early Sunday night, depending on where you are. Please make sure to subscribe, like, and let's get this channel to 1,000 subs. Really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. RR, you're a soldier. Love it, brother. My man. I am author Stephen Walton, the Fandom Menace historian. Whether you like it or not, you're a historian. And you can find me over on that channel where I do Rogue Entertainment every week. Going to see some more videos coming through from me on that channel, but mostly you will find me over at Lodanis Dragonstorm, where I do talk about narcissistic abuse recovery and awareness, positivity and motivation, and yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at nowadays. Make sure, guys, to support your independent creators. Very important. Doesn't matter what lunch table they sit at. Doesn't matter who likes who. If you like them, make sure to help and support their channels because they're making content for you. And it's also, most especially those independent creators, those independent authors, independent comic book creators, like even just a like or a share. Just letting somebody know that a campaign exists it does a lot to help the spirit and motivation of that dude or that woman who is putting all her energy and effort into being creative and producing something from the heart. So please make sure to support them and make sure to wash your hands, wash your ass, be good to each other, yet suffer no fools. Peace.
Sounds good.